Hey, love bugs. I promised I would go live today in the tribe, and I almost forgot. It's probably late for all of you mainlanders. Um, but I just still wanted to go live. And this is something that I was just writing about for a money course that I do. Hold on a second. I'm plugging in my headphones. My headset on. I was just writing about codependency for a money course that I run, and I was writing about how I believe the number one reason that people let go of their self care and don't actually do self care is actually codependence. Codependence is when we believe it's our responsibility to take care of other people, to solve their problems, to make sure that they're happy, and it usually operates at the expense of our own happiness, our own, energy put into our own life. And so it actually makes very direct and implicit sense that for you to take on all of the weight and all of the responsibility and all of the energy of having to take care of other people and having to solve all their problems and having to come through and drag them out. Codependency often happens with people like addicts and things when you feel like, oh, I have to save them from themselves. When you are operating from that energy, from that codependent energy, you're going to put yourself on the back burner. That's just the way it's going to be. That's just the way it's going to operate. You're going to put yourself on the, my cat's playing. You're going to put yourself on the back burner and you're going to believe that your needs are less important because you need to focus all of your awesome energy on taking care of this person in front of you and on making sure that they're okay. When the truth is that that perspective actually ends up burning you out. It actually ends up causing this log jam inside of you, this energetic log jam, this energetic bottleneck where you actually don't have more energy to give because you're not filling up your own tanks. Not that you should be taking care of other people's problems or feeling as though it's your responsibility to take care of other people's problems, because it's not. But when you are sacrificing your self-care in order to take care of other people, when you're sacrificing your self-care in order to make sure other people are okay, to make sure other people are happy, to make sure other people are well cared for, you're going to end up paying the cost. That other person isn't going to end up paying the cost. And here's the thing about codependency is I also believe that codependency is related to the patriarchy. It's related to the fact that women as a whole have been, my cat's going crazy on this string, women as a whole have been raised with the belief that it's their job to make sure everybody else is happy, that everything's in harmony, that everything is running well, and that if they're not doing this, then something's wrong with them. And so they take on the mantle of solving everybody else's problems because that's the way they believe they gain value in our culture, because that's how we've been conditioned to believe that women gain value in our culture. But this conditioning has obviously robbed us of the opportunity to understand that we cannot serve from an empty cup. We cannot come and solve other people's problems for them. The only thing we can truly do is empower other people to solve their own problems. It's like the old saying that you can give somebody a fish or you can teach them how to fish. If you give them fish, they might eat for a day. If you teach them how to fish, they're going to eat for a lifetime. If you solve someone else's problems and feel as though it's your responsibility to do so, you are going to constantly find yourself having to solve that person's problems. If you are taking it on yourself to make sure other people are happy, you're going to constantly have to take on the responsibility of making that person happy, because you're not allowing the space to teach the other person that they can make themselves happy, and that they are ultimately the source of their own happiness, that they are ultimately the source of their own solutions, that they are ultimately never without power to change things in their life. And so when you are operating from a place of codependency, you're really coming from this place of believing that your worth comes from being, and this is kind of a big, bold statement, but your worth comes from being able to be there for other people, and that if you weren't there for other people, either A, they'd fall apart, or B, they'd no longer love you and appreciate you. And so part of you actually feels the desire to stay in that codependency, because by staying in that codependency, you ensure that you're needed. And I want to assure you that you don't need that kind of trap to know that you're needed. Because if you're spending all of your energy solving one person's problem or making sure one person is happy, you're robbing the world out of your own genius, out of your own ability to teach the world and educate the world and expand the world. Because when you are wrapped up in codependency and feeling as though it's your job to solve other people's problems, to rescue them, to make them happy, you are going to be breaking your own back on the altar of self-sacrifice in order to make that happen, because you're not teaching people how to do it for themselves. You are taking on the mantle of having to do it for them. And by taking on the mantle of having to do it for them, all of your energy is focused on them, and it's no longer focused on you. And it's no longer focused on self-love, self-care, self-nurturance, self-fulfillment. And when you take your eye off of those things, your entire life suffers. And not just your life, but the lives of those around you, the lives of those who are waiting for you to show up and make a difference in their life. Because you have a much bigger impact than you even realize. And by being codependent, by taking, feeling as though it's your responsibility to take care of other people, you are going to trap yourself in a much smaller impact than what you're capable of. But even more than that, you're going to burn out. You're going to feel resentful. You're probably going to be angry because you have to keep solving this person's problems and to keep, try to make them happy. And you're also going to end up feeling a heck of a lot of stress, because you won't just be dealing with your problems all the time. You'll be dealing with other people's, because you feel as though that's your responsibility.